on, Dave?
Not nearly enough robotomata-sized internalized nerve ganglia. How are you?
Not even close, but the ending of that just sounds very bad. You should not have ganglia.
No.
But yes, I'm
Hold on. Ring. Hello.
Oh, geez. Let's go to the old intro.
Is it just me? Or is it getting crazier out there?
Okay, here we go. We are at season 1, episode 12, Dave. Mr. R.I.N.G, aired January 10th, 1975. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Late Horror Show. I am Dino, and that's Dave. His link is in the description. Go check out his channel, The Paranormal Gardener, amongst other things. But yeah, no, we are here to talk about Mr. R.I.N.G. We could technically talk about it in a minute, but we're going to talk about this episode, and there's a lot of things we can bring up because it's very apropos for 2024. Robot, AI, need I say more? But let's say hello to everybody in the chat, Dave. How about that?
I'm going to say, first of all, hello to Connie Cleary, Harry Scott, Emma War, Night Fright Talk Show, Ed Stathis, who was listening, not him, actually Andrea Black was listening to Pink Floyd earlier.
Yes, she was.
Thank you for that.
Black Roses, Harry Scott. Yeah, hi, good donuts to you.
Very early.
Night Fright Talk Show.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of people. Yeah. Building up an audience. MOR.
More thumbs up than we have people right now.
Yes, 40 thumbs up, Night Fright says. Could be more than that. But listen, yeah, this is an episode. Listen, this.
Okay, first of all, I want to talk about this. IMDb has this at a 7.2.
Oh.
How do you feel about this?
I feel, listen, I love Kolchak. There's just a love, almost like Columbo. There's a love you get for Kolchak when you become a fan, okay? But Dave, this episode, Mr. R.I.N.G, is one of it's the worst. It's the worst.
That's for JoJo in the chat. Little romper room.
Oh, romper room
call. I see. Yes,
my favorite part. There you go, JoJo. Hey, how you doing? WTF horror and sci-fi. What's going on? Good to see you, JoJo. Hope everything's going good. Anyways, romper room. Yeah, we need a big thing we could look through. But yes, Dave, your question. This was not a good episode. It it doesn't hold up over time because they were just starting off with computers and the whole point of this institute, the Tyrell Corporation, the secret government or military, area or building or whatever that's working on miniaturizing computers. Okay. Right. Now we got them in little tiny blocks of watches where we could just do everything that they did for, in this episode. But it just doesn't age well because of all of that. The AI that's going on now, it's again, we could sum this up in 1 second, but we're going to have fun with it because there's lots of fun parts.
Before we go into the episode, I'm sorry. What kind of score would you give this?
Oh God, you're going to make me go there.
I want a number.
Okay. Hello, Laura. What's going on? Good to see you. You know what? I'm really going to 5.0.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I
almost wanted to go lower, but I didn't.
Okay. All right. Well, I am going lower. I'm going 4.8.
Okay, so you did what I was thinking, but I'm like going, but it's Kolchak. I'm giving it a mid-range 5.0.
It is. I mean, this was an episode where I really enjoyed the characters.
Yeah.
The actors. more than anything else, and like, I mean, I guess I feel pretty lucky. I've watched 11 episodes of Kolchak that I would watch again.
Oh
And this
yeah,
is the first one where I'm like,
never watch it
a
again.
hard pass.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Lulu Bell, what's going on? Good to see you. Amongst those lines, actors and actresses in this, I love Vincenzo and Kolchak when they sit down in that office and he's just sitting there thinking about, yeah, they're really pressing me hard. What do I do? Do I just throw this out or do we keep with it? But the main thing I want to bring up is Julie Adams is in here. She plays Mrs. Walker, and it's kind of a comparison in some respects to Dr. Dwyer and the robot that just goes crazy throughout the city in the episode, and the creature from the Black Lagoon, and Julie Adams, who plays a bit part in here, Mrs. Walker. But do you see that? I mean, I think there's some kind of comparison in the episode with that.
I see some of that. I really enjoy just looking at Julie Adams.
Yes, that too.
In the
creature walks among
from
us.
the Black Lagoon, I wouldn't mind being the creature holding her.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, listen, I would say, Julie Adams is a bit older, but still very beautiful. And again, Creature Walks Among Us, maybe the third movie out of all three, because there he's trying to get more intelligent, and they're trying to teach him to. Anyways, but Dr. Dwyer.
It's funny too, because you mentioned the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah,
I have tie-ins to Friday the 13th, Halloween, Bewitched, and Twilight Zone.
Yeah. Yes. No. Yes, the mask with Friday the 13th, kind of. I think you're going with, but when you get to those parts, talk about it, because very interesting. There are aspects of other things, because I tell you, R.I.N.G, robomatic internalized nerve ganglia, Mr. R.I.N.G, this robot, it threw me off, where it's wearing this kind of, it's a guy in like a brown felt bodysuit.
It's a guy that's very comfortable with his manlyhood in that tight of a suit as well.
Yes,
that is a skin tight suit.
It's a skin tight suit. Hey, I'll be Joshin.
And KJ's been here. KJ was here earlier.
KJ, hey, it's KJ. Dave gets the 3 hays. Hey, it's Dave Plouffe. But hey, it's KJ. Listen, a tight. I mean, I think they could have done better, even back then.
Oh,
the skin, the brown suit. It immediately makes you go, cheap as hell. I know it's a guy. I mean,
right?
I don't know.
And it's not Richard Keel.
And it's it's not Richard Keel.
Keel would have, give me a swamp monster, give me something, but really?
Yeah. I mean, the face kind of. I mean, I don't mind all the little gadgets that were there and stuff like that. With no eyes. I get that he's a robot, but the brown felt. I mean, it looked like when we were in kindergarten, we would cut out little felt pieces for our Campbell's soup can and make a little robot out of it.
It was a arts and crafts project is what this was. So their costume and textile department needed to maybe they were all laid off.
Harry Scott, be right back sheltering. Everything good there, Harry Scott? You better shelter if there's tornado or anything. I don't know what's going on there, but yeah. Cough, Mr. Ring, aka Blade Runner.
Well, there's some ties into Blade Runner as well. For instance, the Tyrell Institute. In Blade Runner, it's the Tyrell Corporation.
Yes.
But of course, Blade Runner came later.
Right.
So
right. Interesting.
Do we want to talk real quick about Craig Baxley? I think is his name.
Sure. And hello to Christia. That came when I wasn't born, but 5 years later, LOL. Okay. Good to have you in chat. Yeah, go ahead. Talk about it.
Well, he's just a stuntman. He's going to be in the next episode as well.
Yeah.
A stuntman in over 100 TV shows, and then made the transition from stuntman to assistant director and finally to director. He's got over 50 credits to his name under the directorial heading.
Mhm.
And anyway,
Yeah.
we all know him from directing A-Team and things like that.
Yep, exactly. WTF in horror and sci-fi. He says ganglia are microscopic cells in your nervous system. Yes, they are. That's exactly what it is.
I'm glad one of us remembers science class.
Well, I did look it up. Listen, I know all about what that is. I mean, and again, in the end of this, you're going to find out. I mean, well, throughout, it's advanced artificial intelligence too, because this Mr. R.I.N.G is born. Okay, so however you say that, I don't know. Hey, Kathy, what's going on? Hello, Dino, Dave, and everyone in chat. So there's a lot of AI in this too. That's what it's all about. And I just thought it was very, very. It was a cool topic, but the episode just needs to be flushed. But anyways, is that's too harsh? No, I don't think it's too harsh.
It is not too harsh, but you're right in terms of it did not hold up. And one of the things that I really enjoy as we're also doing Columbo is that we will see some old-fashioned things in Columbo. But when we see those, it's more nostalgic. Like, oh, wow, a phone that has a cord on it and a couple of lines you can press and, answering machines and things like that. And with this one, it was just kind of like, to me, it was 1950s sci-fi brought into the 70s. And
I think, no, I get what you're saying. And WTF for the robot in the Munsters was as good as this robot and was far more amusing. Was as good as this robot? I think it was 100,000 times more better. Is that? Did I say that correctly? More better? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I never talk correctly, but I think the bigger point of this was they were trying to make it go political. The military infrastructure is doing hidden experiments, and we don't get, like Kolchak said, our tax dollars in a pie chart are cut up, and our tax dollars goes to the military secret black projects and stuff like that. We know that, but there's a little, what did he call it, like ice cream on top of the pie or something like that, that we have no idea really goes on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is it.
And we have no control over it or anything like that. So you said that very well.
Yeah, Sweet Indigo, what's going on? Good to see you.
Kathy.
Ian Sharp. Yeah, Kathy. So yeah, I mean that's basically, I think it's more about that than sci-fi whatsoever. I mean, this is just don't go down that road. I mean, like I said, the robot really is about, well, let's get into the episode, Dave. Let's wherever you want to start, we'll go from there.
Well, I didn't even like the beginning. Because the beginning itself was Kolchak heading into the office, getting himself a cup of coffee, looks exhausted. Looks like he just came back from finals from my class. And he's just sitting there and he's all, I'm going to start talking and I'm not sure if I remember everything. And it's like they had just, taken him out to the desert, beat him up and left him there. And he made his way back to the office and he recounts this story of beginning with having to write an obituary.
Hello, Werder Bremen. Good to see you from Germany.
I
didn't like that either. I mean, but it does go with how it ended. It starts off the way it ends. The government's erasing his mind and memory somehow. I don't know, through drugs. But go on, Dave.
Right, and it was just kind of like it could have been, could have been at the Terrell Institute. I could have been taken to a bunker in South Dakota. I don't even remember the last time I was in this office. Yeah. And it was just kind of very un-Kolchak-like.
Right.
Again, maybe it's the power of the government to do something like that to us.
Well, yeah, for some reason, this episode started digging deep and kind of, hitting on all that stuff. What politics kind of is in there, where our money goes to, what they're doing with our tax dollars, stuff like that. So it just took kind of a weird little turn, and one I wasn't real, intrigued with. I mean, throughout this entire episode, I was kind of flashing back to like the werewolf, the zombie, the vampire, like just thinking while I'm watching it, I'm going, boy, I wish it was more like that,
Right.
because it just was a little too deep on that part of things and stuff. It was drag racing out there, Dave.
Okay. All right.
Wonder who's going to win.
I thought it was Mr. Ring.
Real quick, WTF. Let's see what he's got to say here. I got the impression they gave him some kind of drugs that affected his mind, like truth serum, to learn what he really knew and maybe something to make him forget. Well, isn't that what we just said, WTF?
Well, also at the end of the episode, I think he names a couple of the truth serums.
Yeah.
As well. So
yes, they're trying to make him forget and everything. Kathy says, Dino, I just love to hear you say werewolf. That Ohio accent of yours is awesome.
I'm glad you like to hear it, Kathy.
Werewolf, the werewolf. Yeah, Dave don't like to hear it. Yeah, he's getting sick of it after a year. God,
6 years.
Guy's voice. You said you woke up in a cold sweat last night from a nightmare. I just kept talking and interrupting, and you were trying to dream of something really good, but I kept interrupting you, and it was very annoying.
I wonder what Ted's doing tonight.
Well, he was in the intro. He sits in the back during the intro.
He does.
Anyways, yeah, that was pretty bad. Kathy, the other Cleveland kind of accent. And listen, growing up, I was told this all the time. Like cold, I always say it's code outside, like CODE. It's code outside. That's a Cleveland thing. I have no idea. It just is. Okay, I'm done. Dave's getting annoyed. It is what it is. With his T-shirt. Wait, what's
tank
going on?
Tank top.
Who's got? Oh, Ted in his tank. Yeah. No, it fell off of his body one day and just it's gone. So it disintegrated.
It did disintegrate. I was like, I think I've been watching this for 6 years, and he's wearing the same tank top.
Yeah. Sodium pentothal.
The super host.
Yes, code is awesome too. Robot. Anyways,
pentothal is what he mentioned.
70s Cleveland Canton connection, KJ. Oh, there you go. Okay, yeah, no. So let's get back to talking about this.
After the little Kolchak intro, we go to a top of the line military installation, scientific laboratory, and there's Mr. Ring laying out on the table in his jumpsuit. We've got a doctor with a clipboard and his white little, suit that he wears. And on the wall, he's got all those things that turn around like tape cassettes, but they're super large.
Dave's favorite thing to see. Old sci-fi. So I don't get what it is. I don't know, something in a past life. Maybe you had something to do in a rocket ship, and it just you've got repressed memories from a past life. It could be.
Perhaps.
Yeah. Okay, but sorry, it is very sterile. Like it's more of a doctor's surgical room than like experimenting with robotics or anything. It just seemed different.
Yes.
Thank you.
But as we and Mr. Ring, we notice that his hand moves. And we know that, this guy is alive. And we know the doctor isn't long for this earth.
Wait, did you say this guy's alive?
This robot.
Yeah, let's say robot.
Sorry.
Either Mr. or either robot or Mr. Ring.
All right. So the robot we know is alive, even though it's a man inside the robot.
Well, there you go.
And as soon as this guy, we find out he's going to terminate this project. But the robot gets up and he gives him a Vulcan grip on the back of his neck, and the doctor falls down dead.
Yeah, that was quite odd. It was so quick, and I'm like, what the hell did he do? How did he kill him? What did he pinch that killed him immediately? I have no idea. It was very weird. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong. I hated it because I actually was like, that's actually comforting. If you can just, can you go a little lower, do that?
Jojo says, can't get any more SoCal looking than Dave tonight. Loving the Aloha shirt. Yeah, some Beach Boys going on. Yeah, I hear the kids playing outside too. Yeah,
that's scary because they're not.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Well, they must have run by or something. But anyways, go ahead.
All right.
Vulcan grip kills Doctor.
Vulcan grip. Doctor's dead. We didn't even get a chance to meet him, talk to him, like him, dislike him. But he married a hot wife. So
he did. Yeah, Julie Adams, Mrs. Walker.
Then Kolchak goes over to Mrs. Walker's house, basically. Oh, well, actually, I'm sorry, back to the INS office because we have a very happy co-worker because he's going to San Francisco.
Just reading some of WTF stuff. Yeah, exactly. Wait, we got cybersecurity here. What the hell? Show is already running its course at this time. What do you guys think of the Blu-ray release? You mean of Kolchak?
I would need a Blu-ray player.
Dave's got a beta machine and a laser disc. So yeah, that's what he watches his Kolchak on. And me, I recorded onto a VHS. And that's how I watch mine. But good to have you in the chat, Cybersecurity Daily. Yeah, listen, we know it was running its course. Nobody gave a crap about a show that could have been really, really good. But we do got gems in Kolchak. I don't know if any of these later ones are going to be garbage too, but we'll find out. But yeah, so Carl's at the well, no, he's not there.
Excuse me, back in the INS, Ron Updike is really happy because he is going to San Francisco in place of Carl Kolchak. And Carl's all, why are you so happy? And he's all, none of your business. And he walks out the door singing a song. Then Miss Emily's all, it's because you're in trouble. And in the whole background, we have Vincenzo standing at his door.
Yep. Well, he's like, you weren't around, so I gave it to him.
Yeah.
So he ends up giving him the obituaries to check out. Yeah, the Blu-ray release of the series is good. I mean, I can't kind of comment on it because I don't have the Blu-ray set. If anybody does, let Cybersecurity Daily know in the chat. But no, I do not have the Blu-ray release. I do have all the episodes. Would I want to go out and get the Blu-ray release of this? Listen, I've been collecting physical media lately. So I don't know. Let's get through the entire season, and then I will see. And then I'll check out how much it is, too. No ring was the bottom of the Kolchak barrel. It's all uphill from here. That's good to know, WTF, because, yeah, this was the worst so far. But, yeah, he gives him the obituaries, and he's going to go check out the people who have died in the past day or so. Yeah.
He's upset because that's what you get when you first start to become a reporter, is you work on the obituaries. But he gets to go over and meet Julie Adams, and I'm all for that. And Julie Adams is totally drunk, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, and you get the idea that she's just glad that he's gone. She's celebrating because I love that later on. She's got the insurance money, and she's packed up, sold the house, and getting ready to go out to wherever it is and live the good life for the rest of her life.
Well, that's it. It's just out to live her own life now.
Well, and I think there was something going on with Dr. Walker and Dr. Leslie,
There,
because she mentions that.
there could possibly have been.
I'm hanky panky.
Yeah, but it was more, and I think this is brought up in the second interview, that it is all about the brain power between those two.
Yeah, yeah. Now I would get it for the extras, and that's what I will check out. But me and Dave are first going to get through the series, and then I may go and buy it and see, because that would be kind of interesting. But anyways, Vincenzo knows what's up. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Wait, what did Black Rosa say? This episode needed a leg lamp. Yes, it did. But yeah, go ahead. It takes us to Julie Adams, and they're basically just talking about what he was doing. He's trying to get information. Yeah.
Right. And it's kind of like, so you knew him? No, not really. And he starts, asking about everything going on. But I love the way that she just plays a total drunk. And we see this actually in a couple episodes of Columbo when the husband is killed and the wife is just totally blitzed. And it's the same type of thing where it's a very unhappy marriage, where the woman feels trapped and everything like that. But there's one episode I love of Julie Adams because it reminded me of our Ashes to Ashes episode we just did on Columbo, is that she pulls out her arm and bourbon goes everywhere out of the cup. And
yes, it's on the carpet. Yeah,
tries to clean it up off of the carpet.
Yeah, no, very interesting that you kind of connect the two as we're watching these. Same era, kind of same stuff going on. One thing I do like, hello, Emily. Good to see you. Emily's morning coffee. Listen, tonight's stream is going to be something a little bit different. You're going to it's a mixed bag tonight. There's some detectives mixed in with it, but you're going to hear some stuff you haven't heard on the channel before, and they are good. So check out, no timestamps, but if you want to be surprised, tonight's stream has some different stuff up there tonight. So hopefully you guys really enjoy that. What I really love too, and I don't know why, I always wanted a Pinto. I don't know why. People made fun of them, everything else, but I thought it was cool. But let me get into it. There's a Pinto outside as Kolchak pulls up to the house to talk to Julie Adams, Mrs. Walker. And the Pinto out there, a Pinto, okay? There's a military agent, secret agent out there, or whoever, undercover, cop, whatever. I don't know who he is. He's undercover. But he's sitting there in a Pinto, watching the house, watching her, and watching Kolchak come up because it's the wife of Dr. Walker, well, Mr. Walker, who created Mr. Ring. This is all so confusing, but not really. When he pulls in, did you notice that he picks up a phone in the car? And Dave, it wasn't worked on as a car phone or anything. He picks it up and it looks like a home phone. Did you crack up at that? I thought
I did. I cracked up more that the car was moved when he had gone out.
It was way up.
Yep.
It was in a different spot. Yeah. There were a couple mistakes like that in this episode. Listen, I think somebody didn't care, but I don't know.
No, but it was also a really nice house I thought he had.
It was a nice house. Yeah.
It was a great house. I hope she got some good money for that.
I'm sure she did. If she would have waited 10 more years, it would have been even more. But, it's good.
Well, I will tell you, on a Pinto, I had a Ford Mustang 1976 hatchback.
Nice.
Basically, a Pinto.
Okay. It was very similar.
It is not a classy car.
Huh. Interesting. Okay. There's the Pinto, which, listen, I know people make fun of it, but something about it. And then there's the Gremlin. Those two cars I thought were, like Gremlin. I thought they were kind of unique and different. I like them. But when this dude picks up a phone in the car. I'm like, that's a bit too far.
It is.
Pick up a walkie-talkie or something. I don't know.
I would have
Anyway,
loved a walkie-talkie or something just in the ear,
yeah. Hello, what is that? Something like that. But yeah, that's my take of that whole scene. And Carl ends up leaving. But go
Oh,
ahead.
I love the way that Carl also backed up and goes, "Hey, they're beautiful."
Yeah, as
Starts
he
like
leaves. Yeah.
starts harassing the guy who's following him. And the guy's just like reading the paper, like, "I'm not looking at you. I'm not going to do anything." And then like Carl takes off up the street, and what he doesn't know is that there's actually like a second guy up the street in a van, which is really what I expect the military to have is, Acme cleaners on the side.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, at this point, he's been doing this for so long. He doesn't care. He knows that people are out there watching. He picks it up really quick, and he just says, "Yeah, hello." It's kind of funny, and I will respond to that. Did I mention this show was spent forced by this point? Well, some will say not. This is kind of the low point, and the episodes remaining are some of them are pretty good. We still got several to go through. Cybersecurity Daily, but anyways, interesting name you got there too. Anyways, go ahead, Dave. Where are we going next with this episode?
Well, Mr. Ring has already procured a mask that he puts on.
Oh wait, are we that far into it yet?
Oh yeah, we are.
Because he goes, there's a Mr. Techman. I don't know why they mention the name so much, but they said Mr. Techman a couple times. He's a mailman, and he's attacked by Mr. Ring, the robot. So just so that he can get his jacket, his post office.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So yeah, the robot gets that, and then he ends up breaking into another window and getting this like. At first, I'm like, is that a Captain America mask? But it's just a blue plastic mask. And it was just kind of weird. I don't know.
Yeah, it was like generic. Like, why do they have this in a window? I mean, I could see a Batman mask. I could see, a superhero mask, as you mentioned with Captain America, but just a generic mask. Was it a beauty supply store? What was going to go on?
Yeah, I don't know. And Fractured Vision says, going to take some lessons in double talk. Yes. When Kolchak pulls up to the Tyrell Corporation. Am I right? Corporation?
Yeah, that comes later, but okay. Yes.
Yeah. And there's a lot of double talk going back between the security guard. Pretty funny scene.
One of my favorite scenes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go. And Kolchak says that. Going to take some lessons in double talk. Anyways. Yeah, so there was, and you know what? When this robot, Mr. Ring, was kind of roaming around the city and getting what he needed to become human, or at least look presentable.
But how does he know this? And it's just like he's only a day old. And according to the woman that we'll talk about later, Dr. Leslie Dwyer, and it's just like it was so hard to believe what was going on.
Yeah, it was. I mean, especially when she said he's 5 days old later on. And then, so that would put him at like a day old once he woke up and all that. But what was pre-installed in his memory system, or what, you know what I mean?
He has to know that he is hideous to other people, that he doesn't mix in with everyone. And like puts on a mask, like that's really going to help to see this adult man in a skin tight costume with a blue face mask.
Well, yeah, I think his whole point was to get to Dr. Dwyer, and because he's AI, he's starting to become sentient, and he's starting to feel emotions. And she says this, he's got feelings, emotions, he's learning. But he had to have been pre-installed with intelligence, all the facts, everything that he needs to know to do what he's doing. And on top of it, he's strong as hell. So the man in the brown felt suit, how what's underneath there to make him strong, Terminator like. In JoJo, yes, D.A.V.E. Dave Plouffe, yes. It's not Plouffe though, it's Plouffe. Yeah, Plouffe. But for me, it's Plouffe. It'll always be Plouffe.
All right. So W2F Horror and Sci-Fi says he was an 8-bit adventurer lost in a 64-bit world. I think that's excellent.
Yeah, I like that. That's well said. Well said. I like it. But yeah, he's getting emotions. He's got these feelings and stuff like that. So he's trying to become what we are.
Yeah,
And
but he's
again,
also a murderous robot. He is, Carl hears about everything in this, on his police scanner, and he goes over and he's causing bedlam. There's this guy working on the marquee at the theater, which, by the way, the same theater we saw in Horror in the Heights.
yes.
And he pushes, and by the way, the same movie's playing. So he pushes this ladder over with this guy on it, and the police officer captain, I think knows that what this is. I think the government let him in because he tells everyone not to shoot. I'm sorry, I live in Los Angeles. That guy would not have made it down the street.
No. Which was, kind of interesting how they just let him go nonstop, without shooting. Well, they told him not to shoot because
but look at what they did in the original Night Stalker. Okay.
Yeah,
you have Scorsese by the pool, jumps over the wall there, and they fill him full of lead.
Yeah.
Doesn't die because obviously he's a vampire.
Well, this is different though, Dave. I mean, this is
different.
This is a government secret robot that they don't want you to shoot at because we need to get him. But then in the end, they do it. But you know what I mean? I think that's what's going on.
Are they trying to capture him and bring him back? Because the guy, he climbs up on top of the fire. And first of all, it cracked me up when he pulled the fire stairs off of the building.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, someone should call OSHA right there because those fire stairs were not installed very well.
No, they weren't.
Climbs up the ladder and disappears over the top of the building, leaving Kolchak and many of the police officers stunned.
Yes, Dave. Well, that's the thing. I was wondering. I wanted to know more about his power and who he is and what's how they created him and stuff like that. Like the beginning of the $6 Million Man, they could have given 5 minutes of like why he's so powerful, what he is, who is Mr. R.I.N.G, and instead we get this just on the loose rampaging.
Why not finish his face?
Exactly.
If they knew he was going to be a computer,
robot
person, why not give him a face like they did the $6 Million Man?
But they said they were going to shut it down. So whether they were really going to shut it down or not, I don't know. I do got to say, hey, this is J.O.B. in the chat. Hello, saying H.E.L. I ain't even going H.E.L.L.O. to D.A.B.E. Whatever. Good to see you. Good to see you. That's too much for me tonight, man. I don't know. Saving bullets. That could be happening too. And Emily said, what did she say?
Wow.
Ed, my first car was a Buick Special, just like brand new. True story. Bought it from a guy who brought a new car every 2 years and only drove it to church on Sunday. Kept it in the garage. Oh my God. Nice, Emily. Sweet. Okay, anyways, here we go. Number 72? 72 thumbs up?
Connie says that we have 72 thumbs up.
Okay, let's go check. Yes, 72 thumbs up. Thank you, everybody. Hit that thumbs up button. Check out Dave's link below. Go join his channel and check out his stuff. It's similar to what's on my channel, not even close. But he is the Paranormal Gardener. So there you go. And you get to see Bo, his paranormal cat that, lets Dave know about the future. It's a long story. Guys, I love Kolchak, but please do more Columbo. Listen, we'll be doing Columbo. We got our rotation, but listen, you're starting to sound like you hate Kolchak, and I don't think that's the fact there, cybersecurity. I kind of don't understand what's going on there. We just said this one sucked, but listen, it's Kolchak. We're talking about it. So we will do more Columbo.
Yeah.
And we will do how many more Kolchaks? 7? 6?
8.
8. 8. Oh, not yeah.
Yeah, we have 20 episodes in all.
Okay,
we
so
have
8 Kolchaks.
We have another 16 of The Prisoner. About 64 of Columbo. And I think we've got about 99 of the Wild Wild West still.
Wow. Yeah, listen, there's never-ending content. On Sundays, at least.
But I think, are we doing Art Bell next week? Please say yes.
Yeah, isn't that what I got planned? I think Art Bell is next week. Let me go look at the stream. We will be doing Ghost to Ghost 1999. We are going in order. And we're going to talk about the ghost stories. I'm looking forward to it. We haven't done it in a while, Dave. So
I am too.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. And of course, I keep pushing my Outer Limits of Night gallery back and back and back because you know what? I don't feel like streaming or doing anything on Saturday. And I'm right in the middle of my kids' track season, so that's more important. So I keep pushing it. So there you go. Anyways, let's continue. 8:42, and we haven't even gotten to the halfway point, but it don't really matter.
No, it doesn't. I will tell you, though, speaking of the Wild Wild West, Dr. Leslie Dwyer is in an episode in the second season.
Nice. I can't wait to see what she's wearing in that episode. Because the silk outfit she had, listen, we sound like a couple of guys when we're sitting there talking.
Hello.
I know. But yeah, her and her silk.
Wait till we get to the Hammer Horror Babes.
Oh my God. Okay, so you were about to talk about the next break-in for The Mask. And go into detail because I'm, and I'll let you start it off, but I've got a lot to say about that whole thing. But go ahead, Dave. I think that's where we're at, right?
No.
No? Okay. Well,
I'm sorry. He just escaped from everyone.
Okay.
And then he goes, I want to say, to the cosmetology place.
Well, yeah, that's the next break-in.
Okay.
It's a morgue makeup place.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Morgue / makeup. And it's funny when the police and Carl gets there and starts questioning this guy, and I'll let you take it. But when they start talking to he says, I'm not a mortician, I'm a cosmetologist. But when he says it, it made me look at his face. And his face looked different. So I think, yeah. And I think they actually put makeup on to make him look like the scene called for a guy to look like that. It just looked very odd.
You know, that's a really good point. And he was a foot taller than everyone else. So I don't know if they had him standing up on a box or something like that, just for that extra Frankenstein effect. But he was a lot more rigid in his cheekbones and his forehead. And I didn't think of that until now, but yes.
Yeah, that got to me a little bit. But go ahead, start talking about the scene. Adam, for Christ, hello, good to see you.
Well, basically, it's just he's stealing makeup.
Yeah,
and we're going to see him later applying it on top of this mask. Which, by the way, if you are a H.P. Lovecraft fan, there is an episode, short story. Now I can't remember the name of it, but it's basically reviving bodies from the dead, and the bodies are also sentient to where they realize they don't have a face, and then they carve basically, a face like they're doing in this episode, and it's scary, because it's just like literally these people, dead bodies walking. but yet they know they need to look quote unquote presentable.
Yes, I don't know the episode, or I don't know that name either. But yes, yes. Black Rosa says the Reanimator.
It is Reanimator. Thank you. I was stuck on the case of Charles Dexter Ward. I'm like, that is not
Herbert West, the Reanimator. Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes, yes.
it is.
Yeah.
But
Which, by the way, is a great movie. You can find it on Amazon.com.
Stuart Gordon, if I remember correctly.
Stuart, yes, yes, yes. So yeah. And I love that he's still got that scanner in the car. You know, I was a big scanner guy. I was like Art Bell. Nowadays, you really can't. You can use a scanner to pick up stuff, but not a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? Because they went to the PS5 system and all this other stuff. But Jeffrey Combs, yes.
Ironically, my mother listens to scanners all the time,
Still.
but nothing locally. More out where you are in the Midwest. She'll pick up police calls and things like that. She absolutely loves it.
Because some inner cities still use some of the old systems, which is weird. But you know, even them, they use their cell phones. Okay, my brother's a sergeant, and I don't talk about that much, but they use phones. They use their cell phones back and forth. So they don't even pop on those things. Anyways, yeah. So where are we, Dave? I'm lost.
Well, yeah. So was the director of this program.
Yeah, I know.
I think I'd like to go to the Terrell Institute next and have that interchange with the Guard.
Yes. Let's go there.
And it looks like he is, you know, in a really nice, wealthy part of town. And you have these gates, and he's following this one guy into this facility, we'll call it, because we don't ever get to see the inside of it.
J.O.B, I'm sorry. J.O.B says, "Hey Dino, Dave, have you seen the new trailer for the Nosferatu 2024 movie? I have not seen it yet. I'm going to check it out right after this because, first of all, I can't believe they remade it again, and I just hope they do it justice. Right? I'm all up for a new Nosferatu movie. Why not? But I just hope they do it right. Anyways, go ahead, Dave.
I hope Harry Scott's okay. He hasn't come back yet.
No, he did. He did soon after. Yeah, I don't think he said what happened, but anyways.
All right.
But the scanner thing. Anyways, that was just an old school thing that I loved. Art does, and Carl still has in his car, and that's how he picks up what's going on. So, anyways.
Yeah. So Carl, his head is following behind this car into the Institute, and the guard says, "Hello, Colonel," and lets him drive in. And then Kolchak comes in, and he's all, "Yeah, I'm with the Colonel." And the guy's all, "And Colonel, what's his name?" And it's like, "Colonel," like that, you know. And
yeah, I'm not falling for that one.
Yeah, and he's like, "Why don't you just get in your, back up, drive away, And he says, "I thought this was a restricted area."
Yeah.
And, it starts going on like, "Hey, I'd really like to, I'm doing this obituary on Dr. Avery Walker." And
basically, he keeps telling him, no, this is a restricted area. He's giving him double talk, as he says. Yeah.
And it's like, you got to talk to our public relations and all this.
Yeah, and what are they going to say? Nothing. Listen.
Basically says, "Don't make me call my supervisor, because then you're going to end up in a room for several hours being questioned." And he's all, "Well, I'll just back up the car and we'll see you later." And as he's leaving, the guy also flips open his little book and starts writing down his license plate number.
Yep.
The guard himself is Don Barry, and he has over 260 movie credits.
Oh, yeah.
To his name.
Oh, yeah.
And I will tell you, probably 200 of them are Westerns.
Yes. When I saw his picture over there, I'm going, yep, Western. There you go.
And he's also most famous for Red Rider. So his nickname is Red.
Yes, that's his nickname in IMDb. Sweet Indigo says, listen, I just got a glimpse of the episode. I just realized it's just like the Bionic Woman and $6 Million Man, or is it just my imagination? And then I go to WTF Horror Sci-Fi. More or less, listen, I would say less. I think it has nothing to do with anything Bionic Woman or $6 Million Man. Those are people who got injured and got bionic appendages and made them super whatever. You guys know the series. This is an actual robot, with AI capabilities and trying to learn more and become human. Totally different. Sorry, WTF, but totally. Am I wrong, Dave?
No. This has, and WTF also said, and combines the suck into a concentrated pill. He didn't say where that pill was inserted because that's painful as well. This is.
I just don't want Sweet Indigo going and watching this and thinking it might be the $6 million. No, not even close.
No, not at all. Sweet Indigo.
And hello, Shakedown, breakdown. Anyways, so he leaves the institute, the corporation. Now you got me going back and forth with.
It is the institute in this.
Blade Runner. Okay, so it's not Blade Runner. It's the institute. Shakedown likes your shirt, Dave, too.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, me, I don't quite like it. It's not black enough.
I'll wear a black one for you next week.
Will you? Yeah, that'd be nice to see.
I think I have a black one with palm fronds on it, so I'll look.
Okay.
But yeah, it's spring if you watch my gardening videos. So
you like Seinfeld when George sold all of his father's cabana wear?
He said you were dead.
He said you were dead. You bringing moths? Get your crap out of here.
And then he burns it out in the alley.
Yeah, because I guess these moths will go and eat. All my life, Dave, growing up, remember as a little kid, you're told moths eat cloth and everything in a closet.
Yeah.
My entire life, I looked when I seen moths, and I never seen anything eaten.
I've never seen a moth in my closet.
Unless there were so many moths back in the day that they would eat. I don't get it. I don't know.
Well, isn't that why people kept clothes in cedar chests and stuff like that? There was a natural.
Yeah. Listen, actually.
And then. Okay, we're going off the hook now. What about mothballs, right? You would put mothballs into a closet.
Wait, Shakedown says that's mean, Dino. What is talking about Dave's shirt? Listen, we're allowed to talk any way we want to each other.
It's my cabana wear.
Yeah, it's his cabana wear.
And I love that one part where Frank Costanza is looking at Kramer's all, that's my shirt. You're wearing my shirt, you son of a bitch.
How'd you get my shirt?
And
Mr. Dave.
Almost fisticuffing.
Yeah, Mr. Dave is wearing a semi-retired executive shirt. Well, listen, he's on the Pacific Coast, and that's what they wear over there. He's sitting there right now. It's probably 90 degrees and humid, and
ironically,
he's got the window open because he won't buy central air.
That's correct, and because I do have a fan going up here, I have a window over here. I have shades. It was beautiful. It's probably about 80 degrees today.
Yeah, so you got a good fan there that will blow that 80-degree wind in your face.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
And it's beautiful. If I'm looking at building a kind of a really cool shade structure in the backyard where I can hang out and do my presentations from the yard.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, Dave's getting hardcore on his channel. Do not miss a beat. Head on over there now. It's in the description. I would put the link in there. Well, you know what? Start talking, Dave. I'll get the link in the in there.
What do you mean start talking? I've been talking all the time. we're actually, if we go back to the episode, which is painful, we are actually meeting Dr. Leslie Dwyer right now.
Yeah.
And this is where I kind of like think that she wasn't having an affair with the original
Mr.
doctor
Walker.
that was killed, Mr. Walker. Thank you. Because like this other guy comes out of the bathroom, like, and he's shaving and he's in a, towel or robe or whatever.
Yeah.
So, she's, out there, playing the field.
There's Dave's link. Go ahead and join that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I think I have 442 people subscribed, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
on average, I get about 200 to 300 views on my weekly garden stuff.
Good. And more on some of them. So,
Yeah.
it's an acquired taste. I love gardening. It's very good.
Yes.
And her diaphanous gown, yes, fractured. And who would have known that she had, when Carl comes in and starts talking to her, Mrs. Dwyer or Dr. Dwyer, that she's got some bad words. Some tall mustache, black. I don't know. What's she doing with that guy? I don't know. It was the 70s, so
yeah. My note was he needed a shave.
Yeah.
As
I don't know.
people in the 70s did.
Yeah, Dr. Dwyer. Yeah, I don't know. Hey, Unc, what's going on? Good to see you. Kolchak is an example of execs going into a series with no idea. Boy, you know what? I'm starting to think that you just really don't like Kolchak cybersecurity. Bring it down a notch. I don't know. Wow. Shaving cream. Shave every day and you'll always be neat. I'll be joshing. Okay, Dave.
Dr. Demento.
Yes, Dr. Demento. Okay, so we're at Mrs. Walker's. Go ahead, Doctor. No, not Mrs. Walker. We're at Dr. Leslie.
Dr. Dwyer rhymes with Mrs. Walker.
I know.
So, and then he does something stupid. He like makes he goes ring ring, and she's all like, "Is
I
there?
thought that was unique.
Is there a joke in there somewhere?"
Yeah.
I thought that was a great comeback.
Yes, I like that. I like that he kind of threw it in her face as soon as she opened the door.
Yeah, but we also find out that she has been laid off. And that's the first time we realize where I hate to say the puzzle pieces are coming together because they really don't in this episode.
Right.
But it's just kind of like, okay, that project is being terminated.
Black Roses, this episode is brought to you by Manscaped. 6 years ago, I was sponsored by Manscaped and I got all kinds of stuff. I'll tell you one thing, they have the most comfortable underwear for men I've ever worn. There you go. That's all I'll say. Anyways, they do, Dave. Look it up. Buy some. It's so. Anyways, oh boy.
Well, our friends from the Colombo Confab that were on.
Yeah.
Sean was actually one of the people that was the model for the Dollar Shave Club.
Yes. Dollar Shave Club. Yes. Listen, I was getting some cheap razors off Amazon that were really made well, and it's gone. Listen, cybersecurity does love it. Have it on Blu-ray, and it is fun, but it could have been X-Files before X-Files. Again, I think you're new to the channel. I've never seen you before. We've talked about, I think everybody and their mother maybe knows that Kolchak is, it kind of helped bring us X-Files. I mean, it was an inspiration. We all know that. Right, Dave?
It does. I'm just waiting for someone in chat to mention that Carl Kolchak was on a couple episodes of the X-Files.
There you go.
Because that Yes.
Mars Deadwood. Hello, another new name in the chat. Good to see you.
Welcome, Mars.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, commentary tracks. You don't need them, WTF. Just listen to me and Dave as you're watching it. Oh, what are we looking at? What's going on?
It's for J.O.B.
I'm trying to see the book
on the shelf behind Dave. What does he read?
Well, unfortunately, you are never going to bring that in and get it high def enough to see exactly what the titles of those are.
Correct. But 3 of the 4 spaces there are all Sherlock Holmes stories, Sherlock
Nice.
Holmes books, things like. There we go. Thank you. There we go.
Okay, so hopefully you see something, but yeah,
Yeah,
still
and I will
kind of
tell you the majority are signed and
sealed,
rare,
delivered. We
expensive.
know. Sorry, Dave.
That's okay. And then these back here, these are some of my favorite authors. So I've got over here Lawrence Block and his Burglar series. In the center, I've got Alberto Manguel, which are granted a little dense, but they're books about books. And then over here is Ross King, who I can't stress enough is just such an excellent author. Writes about Renaissance artists as well as modern artists. And
Nice.
yeah,
Nice.
and I'll show you my favorite book. Hold on just a minute. Let me go get
Okay,
it.
Dan Tansky, Monster Hunter, says he's my spirit animal. Carl was a huge impact on my life. So very, very cool. And also Overkill with an O. Didn't Chris Carter want the character himself to cameo in the X-Files? Yeah, I think that is correct, Overkill. Yeah. That's correct, right, Dave? I
Yeah.
remember hearing that. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So my favorite book is this one. Not my favorite, probably the most I've ever paid for a book. It is on Queen Victoria. And you're thinking, why would I want a book on Queen Victoria? But when you open it up,
it's signed by Queen Victoria?
better yet, Nigel Bruce.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you just showed me that.
I showed this
Ooh.
once to you behind the scenes. This is from Nigel Bruce's personal library.
Oh,
Of course, that is our favorite Dr. Watson.
Yeah, Sherlock.
Yes.
Watson, Nigel Bruce. Oh my God, so great, so great. Okay, so I don't think I missed anything in the chat. McGavin refused.
I don't think we've even missed anything in the episode.
Oh no, exactly. Yes, Darren said no. Yes, he wasn't going to revive this character after the behind the scenes stuff that happened with Kolchak and all that. So, yeah. He refused to revive Kolchak for X-Files, but was okay with a Kolchak-like character, which ended up kind of being Kolchak to us all. Anyways, okay. So where the heck are we here?
We met Dr. Dwyer. Was the last thing we did. We then go to Senator Duncan or Senator Duncan Stevens.
Okay. And yeah, I mean, basically Carl just comes in asking him questions and stuff like that, and he's denying it, and then the senator ends up calling people to come and keep an eye on him, and tell him not to get into whatever they're into. But yeah, then
Well, then
let's go to the apartment, I think, where the robot comes to get Dr. Dwyer.
Before we do that,
Okay.
he goes back to the INS, and people have already been calling Tony, basically saying, take Kolchak off of this, case right now. And so he comes back, and there's a plane ticket to San Francisco, and it's just like, hey, you're heading off, man. And so
I love that Vincenzo was actually sitting there, because Carl started stating his case like, oh, they're really trying to stop you from getting this, done and everything, and getting me off the story. And Vincenzo's just over there, he's just like, and in the end, he allows him to do it. He continues. So Vincenzo, he sticks to his gun.
He does.
Yeah.
We have a short little bit in a library, though.
It's the last place he kind of ransacks. He destroys the library and puts a big hole in the wall, Again, I don't know where the power or strength comes from. Dave's got bow in his hands and just not
She
bows
came
now.
in to say hello.
Yeah.
Help salvage this episode.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, the big hole in the wall.
It reminded me of Batman.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
And did you notice the librarian?
I noticed her, but nothing rung a bell.
Her name is Maddie Norman.
Okay.
And you know her from one of my favorite Twilight Zone episodes where she plays a maid.
Oh, you're going to have to tell me.
She has over 100 acting credits to her name. She was in The Masks.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
that's right. Okay. Going to have to go back and watch that.
Yeah.
I think Pluto TV's running May 1st, 27-hour Twilight Zone. The best of Twilight Zone. So if you want to see all those, great, Pluto's a good place. Although there's commercials, some I don't like commercials. I don't know. Anyways, that scene back at the newsroom is not unreal. Used to work in journalism. You'd be surprised how much the government has to do with our news. Well, no, we wouldn't be. We wouldn't be surprised. See, we're in a day and age, Fractured Vision, where we wouldn't be surprised. That's the whole point. I mean, so much disclosure has happened, so much has come out in the news and things like that nobody's surprised at what would come out. But anyways, let's get this thing over, Dave.
Oh, please. So we're back to first of all, what's stolen is basically books on tape.
Yeah.
It made me laugh thinking that this guy's probably got a cassette player in his body somewhere.
Yeah, Dave, that kind of threw me off a bit too. I mean, did he steal a cassette player somewhere along the line? Where's he at? Where's he hanging out? I mean, I don't. And he's getting cassettes on tape to listen to because, and they're all, what kind of tapes are they again?
They're like, well, they're not motivational tapes, but they're like, psychology tapes, just general like knowledge tapes. It was really kind of,
and like human nature and stuff like that. So he can become human in some way. That's his goal. Again, he's technically a 5-year-old at this point, I think, or 4 or 5, whatever. But yeah, ends up going.
But he's able to find Leslie Dwyer's address, and we see that the sliding glass door is open. She comes home, starts to do a striptease. Shoes come off, jacket comes off, goes into the kitchen because she's going to make herself some tea. And then all of a sudden she comes face to face with R.I.N.G.
Yep.
But he doesn't kill her.
Which is interesting because she says, Dave, after this, because the cops come, first of all, they come back to the apartment. She's missing. Her body ain't there. But you see that it's ransacked everywhere. You know what I mean? And later on, I go, why the hell was that apartment ransacked? Because
there's no reason to it. There's no reason for it. Yeah.
No, because he came to her to get questions. She's kind of like a motherly figure. You know what I mean? So I didn't get that, but they do vanish and he ends up taking her somewhere different, another house. And I didn't quite catch where they went to, Dave, but you go on.
Well, I don't know if I can.
Okay.
I just like they vanish and they end up in a country house.
Yeah, it was the country house that I didn't know whose house.
I don't know either. I didn't know either. It was just like this.
Okay.
It was a Jane Eyre type of mansion. And Kolchak had to sneak in but then you have Mr. R.I.N.G opening looking out through the blinds or through the curtains at him as he's trying to break in. maybe it was because he does go back and see Mrs.
Avery's
Walker,
place?
Mrs. Walker again. So I'm wondering if that is maybe another country house that they have, or
Okay, fractured vision says, yeah, was it Avery's place? Yeah, okay, it could be.
it could have been.
I didn't quite catch it, but all I was thinking it the whole time is, where they at? Where they at? Whose house is this? And I couldn't quite catch it, but they end up there.
Well, that reminded me of again Kolchak the Night Stalker when they go to the house at the very end to kill the vampire, and it's kind of like everything gets silent. He's looking around. He's going upstairs. He's opening doors, and it's kind of a game of hide and seek.
I love hide and seek, Dave.
Well, I'm glad you do.
Yeah, and Ghosty in the graveyard.
But then he
Kick the
finds
can.
Dr. Dwyer. And she's explaining to him basically what Mr. R.I.N.G is and the importance of this project that they were working on, and that, he didn't kill anybody type of thing, and he's not meant to kill anybody.
Yeah, she's basically covering, saying he was a year old. He's only 5 days old. He's just a child, which is confusing because he has tons of knowledge within his computer system or chips or whatever you would call it, as a robot. You would think maybe not know if he doesn't have feelings, hurting, and he's just starting to have I don't know. I was a little confused, Dave.
And it's, then it's based on, he has these survival instincts. So he can tell if these people want to hurt him or not. And thank you, Ian Sharp, for the Dr. Summer residence.
Thank you. Yeah.
Through this, and again, we're in this beautiful mansion. Yep. And this guy basically, Mr. R.I.N.G bursts through the door and comes right at Carl Kolchak. And I'll tell you, that scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, but stops because she says, "Hey, hold on." He can read your. Listen, she has control of him because he knows her, like a motherly figure kind of thing. So stops him there. And did you want to end it and then talk about the references to Friday the 13th and the other, or did you want to talk about that?
We can do that. Because it is, the way it ends reminds me of a Twilight Zone, the way it ends. And I don't know if it's one that you've seen or not, but Carl Kolchak basically starts quizzing the Mr. R.I.N.G robot,
Yes.
What time is it? And
I love that. That was a good line. But yeah, Carl starts asking him a question, and he's asked him about what time. And do you remember the exact words?
He asks what time it is, but then he responds back going, "Why don't you just look at a clock?" Type of thing.
But yeah, exactly. But he said it a little different, why don't you refer to a consumer clock or something like that? And I thought it was wow, okay, that was kind of a cool question and answer right there.
Then they ask him about philosophers and who's the main philosopher, and so Sigmund Freud, blah blah blah, and he gives him a Wikipedia answer, and then he's all, "Can you do it in French?" And you hear this super well-toned French accent, and then you hear Sigmund Freud, and then back to the French accent. It just that crack.
And that's the part. That's part of what just doesn't age well either, because he's asking. It's okay, all of this is at your fingertip right now. On a little device. It's actually unreal. I mean, I've talked about,
and he's got a little hoodie, and and it's just kind of and I you know me, I'm not a big sci-fi person, and when I just see the digital face, it just harkens back all those TV shows, and I'm just it's a little bit too much. But then he asks, Carl Kolchak asks if he knows the difference between right and wrong, and he can't answer it. And then Dwyer comes up going, "Look, emotionally, he's 5 days old,
Yeah.
But then the police show up.
Yep, you hear police,
I don't know.
military.
Did they follow Carl Kolchak? Did they just, was there a notification
No answer, Dave.
on Mr. Rain?
There's no answer.
But it is literally like the end of Clue, where all the people come in with their guns. All right, who did it?
I like that Carl says he'll come down, hold them off, or something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it doesn't. They just get out of our way. Dr. Dwyer, come on down, and here comes Dr. Dwyer with the robot, Mr. R.I.N.G, thinking maybe go with them, and continue on with what I think that's what she wanted to happen, but what ends up happening is they shoot him.
They fill him full of lead.
Yeah, and I was going to say dead, but no, they shoot him, and his circuitry and everything. They probably just need to repair that little area, and he's back to good again, right?
I would think. Yeah, hopefully we don't have a Mr. Ring 2 in the next 8 episodes.
Oh God, come on.
The return of Ring.
He was an evil version of Data. Well, I disagree. Cybersecurity. He was Mr. R.I.N.G was not necessarily meant or was evil. He was learning. It's basically now where it's used. I think a lot of people have seen the videos of these AI robots that can stand there and just basically answer all kinds of questions and talk like a real person back and forth, whether it's emotions or personal information. They know where the limit is to talk about certain things. Mr. R.I.N.G is the same thing. Not evil. He's not there and out there to kill people. Data. Geez, I love Data. Listen, I love Star Trek: The Next Generation. Data was just, he was just a different version of Mr. R.I.N.G, but not evil whatsoever. Anyways, Dave. Yeah. So he's dead.
Almost. He mutters a couple words.
What does he say, Dave?
Mama. And I'm not kidding. As he's dying, basically in Mrs. Dwyer's or Dr. Dwyer's arms, he calls her Mama.
Yeah.
And so it's not really an emotional thing because it is this robot, but it reminded me of this episode of The Twilight Zone where this one guy got sent to a planet, but he had a robotic mate. And she was gorgeous, but she was a robot. And so they ended up going.
And I forget her name. Yes.
So
she had a name, and it was. Go ahead. Go. Oh,
okay.
I love that episode.
So at the end of the episode, they come back to get him, like his time's up on this planet or whatever. And he's all, oh, by the way, we don't have the payload for this other person. And he's all, well, no, I'm going to stay here then because I'm in love with this robot type person.
Yeah.
And they shoot the robot. They kill her, and then he goes with them and they blast off and it's just, that is just a horrible ending of that episode.
Yeah. But I love, that's a good episode, man, of Twilight Zone. And I don't know, again, I'm bad at remembering unless I just watched it last night or something like that. But I know the episode had, tell me the woman's name. Somebody in the chat knows what episode Dave's talking about for Twilight Zone. And the name of that robot girl's name. It's in my head and sticks out like it's important. I don't know if it was part of the title of the episode. I don't think so. No. But anyways, I think it's just strange that 1975, Dave, they're talking about what is top stories right now. You know what I mean? With robots and AI and stuff like that.
And one of the quotes I wrote down, Carl Kolchak says to Tony, by 1984, the computer will be running us.
Yes. He says 85, though.
He does. So he's a couple decades off.
Well, don't you like the old like, oh God, a lot of the old stories that you would hear, and by the year 2000 we will be flying space cars and stuff like this and everything like that, and none of it's happened.
Right.
I don't know why. I mean, there was even I think even Tesla, when he first started off, and he was going in that direction of flying vehicles. Art Bell talked to a couple people, um, and these many years later, 30 years later, still nothing.
True. But I
Yeah.
love, when Joe Rogan starts talking about this, he goes, when you really start thinking about it, he goes, everything we have is in our phone that we need.
Oh,
He
yeah.
goes, I can download a podcast from the air
Yeah.
and listen to it on my Tesla, which, by the way, is driving itself. It's a self-driving car,
Yeah.
to my appointment.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah. I
goes,
mean,
we have come a long way.
it's not accessible to everybody. I mean, we're still living in who knows if we're going to get out of what we're in right
Well, I
now
don't
and
think we all
advance.
have a totally focused on where we want to go.
No. I think as a civilization, as human beings, we're very, very confused, and we don't know what the hell to do. So,
I think that's an
um,
understatement.
exactly.
Yeah.
Imagine the accidents with people flying their cars. It would be absolutely. Well, listen, WTF? That's going on right now with cars on the roads. I mean, listen, I don't know how you fix that. As human beings, we're flawed. Everybody is flawed in many different ways. There are so many deaths in every city, in every state across the country, every day, from vehicles, from bikes, from just simple accidents. It's like, how do you stop that? Maybe if you get Tesla like vehicles, flying vehicles, something like that, and they're in control of what's going on, and the man doesn't fall asleep behind the wheel, somebody doesn't turn their head for a second, and an accident happens. I think once we advance to that point, you'll have less and less and less and less deaths because it will be controlled, right, Dave? Am I wrong?
No, you're right. And I think also, of all companies, Amazon takes best advantage of these like drone deliveries.
Yeah.
I mean that's kind of scary in itself. You know, and,
Mm-hmm.
I mean everything is known about you and your location, and you know, just think when you order a Lyft, all the information that they get, and they just show up to your door and take you to where you want to go. It's just a very interesting world that we live in today.
Well, I mean, not to get too deep, fractured vision, but it says we're not confused. We're being exploited, and our fears and ignorance is being used against us to keep us divided. Listen, all of that is true, 100%. But I do think we are also confused. You can't change my mind on that whatsoever. I think as a human being, we are flawed. Okay. We are not perfect. There are many things that are wrong with us. We walk this earth having, again, I've been an open book on many things, having phobias, fears. There's people with mental illness, there's people addicted to chemical substances. And again, I don't want to get into too deep about how that's happened, because there are reasons behind why that's happened. You can just look to WW2 when they were handing out cartons full of cigarettes and it was just plastered everywhere. Let's give it to every military person on the planet. There you go. But anyways, I don't
Well,
want to
look
get
at all and art we when we deal with Art Bell, look at all the different experiments we did on our own people.
Oh, yes,
You
yes.
know, and again, this is the government.
I know. Got to watch what I say, but yeah, there were things done back in the 40s, 50s, and even early 60s, but that we know of. We know of documented cases of planes going over villages and cities in our own countries in the northwest part. Anyways, they're documented. You can get it. Freedom of information. Dig deep enough. I've heard enough stories. I've seen enough proof where they've actually just let's experiment on our own people. So yeah, it's just so when I say human beings are flawed, and I don't know if we'll ever advance to the point of a peaceful world where we're all united, man, if that day ever comes, right, Dave? But anyways, I don't know. Dave's just, I don't know where to go.
I was going to do a Sherlock Holmes quote.
We'll do it.
God willing, we'll live to see that day, Watson.
Well, there you go. Yes, Sherlock. I love Nigel Bruce. Anyways, yeah, overnight tonight, you guys, please. A different stream. You're gonna see some different episodes in there to start right off. Some really good stuff. And me and Dave next week. Art Bell Ghost Stories. And
Awesome. I can't wait.
I can't wait to. Yeah, I don't know why, but I'm like, yeah, I can't wait to talk about some ghost stories. Art Bell, Ghost to Ghost, 1999, and let's see, what about A Clock Runs Orange? What? A Clock Runs Orange? You mean A Clockwork Orange? Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange, Mars? Yeah, again, you can dive and tear that movie apart with everything it means. And so, listen, I don't know. Let's end this stream. This was a
right.
4.8 for Dave,
That's
5
it.
point me. I don't know. It just